武林高手认识这个闫丽梦啊，
闫博士。
闫博士。Hi William, after reading your programs and those from War Room, I want to share my information about Li-Meng Yan to you. For a third-class researcher who have mingled with those who are notorious for making fake news, it is actually no point to talk about her, but I feel sorry for those who are misguided by her. 咱们看一下郭文贵是怎么评价闫丽梦的啊？这个是一个理论基础，他怎么评价的啊？那个就是这个是他们谎言的基础。
我说就这一个身份，他是全世界、全地球，人类有史以来被停止运转的时候来了一个当事人，是代表世界卫生组织关于这个病毒和中共联系的。你告诉我他有没有资格说话？你说什么官方态度啊？你说的什么科学家？放他妈屁！他是唯一一个跟你联络的人，而且拿的现代化的微信给你看。人家光这个咱们这儿有翻译，咱们的秘密翻译组翻译了460页，460页，另外一个工作小组翻译了将近300多页，上千页的文件，啊，那都是真实的语音和通话，涉及到几百人，啊，你说啥呢 ？FBI 说要证据，我说你要证据，你给共产党要证据的，你给他要什么证据啊？他本身就是证据，你给他要什么证据啊？这不神经病吗？你毁共天下人死不干净吗？这不是吗？对不对啊？所以闫丽梦女士第一个她是 W 是代表人。他有一个沟通的记录，是跟共产党 CDC 武汉市各医院的沟通。第二个就是很多人忽视了这个角色，不去讲。本身，大个博士他本身就是传染病学的专家，他旁边是一个男人，这个男人是香港世界上最牛的，啊，这个 P3实验室的这个传染病专家第一。我操，真牛吧？一个是病理学传染病专家就是这个叫什么病毒专家，一个是传染学专家，这俩合在一起就可以治病毒。这还不算数。人家有一个大老板啊，叫马里奥啊，这个也是斯里卡人，他先生也是斯里卡人。这个斯里卡人这个王八蛋啊，这是人类上最坏的东西。这个是传染病冠状病毒人类第一把手，就是最早是跟那个 WHO 那个谭德赛个王八蛋站着说，这个病毒不传人，可控可防。
You can see the key points on this slide. Okay, so there's three this Miles Guo talked about Li-Meng Yan. All right, okay, let's go to the next page. So you can see those lines here, right, on this page. So this is 2020 May 5th, a red iPhone 11. Is she a WHO secret representative as she claimed?
Tell us about the P3 lab you worked in Hong Kong. What was its role, and particularly what was its role in overseeing or looking at anything that was going on in mainland China?
So the P3 lab I work in Hong Kong actually belong to the University of Hong Kong and the School of Public Health. So the head, Prof. Pierre Malik, and also the other head, Professor Liu Peng, both of them are the WHO consultant for both emerging disease influenza and also new coronavirus. And we are the WHO reference lab. This lab is a top coronavirus lab in the world, and these two experts are the top corona experts in the world.
So this is from July of 28th, War Room with Steve Bannon in these democracy meetings in Washington. So 2020 July, the second video, let's watch it together.
You really are saying that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and their whether it's the Beijing CDC, the entire chain of command knew about the outbreak of this virus in Wuhan and Hubei much earlier than they let on. That they knew about it actually in late December or early January. Explain that.
Okay, actually, since the end of December, 31 December 2019, my supervisor, Prof. Liu Peng, assigned me to do some secret investigation about the unknown pneumonia happened in Wuhan. He clearly told me face-to-face that there is unknown pneumonia happened in Wuhan, and it is caused by some SARS-like virus. And we want to know more information. He needs to write the report to Hong Kong government. But actually, there are no official news come from mainland China. So I use my background because I got my PhD and MD from mainland China. I have the huge network in Chinese hospital and also government and research institute. So I turned to my friend and who work under China CDC, has the first hand of information. He told me, as I called, since end of December, the China government already knows there are over 40 cases confirmed in Wuhan, not as they said 27. And also they got the genome sequence already from Wuhan, not as they stated in the middle of January. And the other thing, most important thing is there are human-to-human transmission exists, and there are family clusters happened. So these are all the key points that I know at that time. And also the Wuhan doctors are very scared. They dare not to say anything, just ask people to wear masks. And I reported to Leopold and WHO.
So July 28th, the key point of this video is she said by herself, right? She was assigned a task by Professor Liu Peng to do some secret investigation to report to the Hong Kong government and WHO. So she's not directly reports to WHO. So that's not what she claimed, or even Miles Guo claimed that she is a WHO representative. That's not true. All right, but there's a third video.
And then they don't inform the world. So even WHO at that time has to reach to secret source, I mean me, be representative of the WHO reference lab in the University of Hong Kong to do the secret investigation to know what exactly happened in Wuhan.
On August 12th, so a day before yesterday, Newsmax interview, WHO had to reach her. That's her claim, right? So after about 15 days, her claim changed, right? So, you know, from this to that. So totally different things. So WHO had to reach her secretly to be the representative to research on what happened in Wuhan. So someone who knows Li-Meng Yan on her academic and research background. Yan actually has a degree of Master of Medicine, not Doctor of Medicine. I'll explain this part to the English audience because you may be confused on this. Okay, her specialty is this. So optimal, I don't know how to say this, but it means an eye doctor, right? Her PhD study was also related to this. Okay, she has zero background on virus evolution and genetics. I doubt she has any ability to conduct any basic analysis on the topic even at a postgraduate level. Her peer-reviewed publications reflect this. Okay, I'll explain this part in English. So medical doctor in China is different than the medical doctor's title in the Western world. So in China, you finish your degrees, you study medicine, you can be called as a medical doctor, but you don't have any surgical or practice, you know, in this field. But you have a degree in doctors in medical. So she has a master of medicine. All right. Okay. So she using this abbreviation to mislead everybody. She is a medical doctor, but actually no, she has a master of doctor degree. So she's not a real doctor. Okay. So that's the confusion I want to explain. Her graduation essays for her master degree and her doctor degree are all here. You can search it up yourself. It's all about eye surgeon. Okay, it's all about eyes. Okay, I don't know how to say that word. 这个 Yan's genome sequence publication theory and how SARS-CoV-2 was made in a lab. 这个地方有
And actually, this virus is not origin from nature, not from the bat by itself. It is just a virus based on a bat virus, which is discovered and owned by Chinese Communist Party.
Okay, remember this part. This is about the second part. How SARS-CoV-2 was made in a lab, okay?
The military lab.
Okay, hang on for 1 second. When you say it's not from nature and it's not from a bat virus, that means it was made somehow. Walk us through, what is your evidence for that, and how can an American audience understand that? Because it's being spun here by the mainstream media, that bat woman, they show her all the time, and this bat. Walk us through. What do you mean it's not a bat virus and it's not natural, it's man-made?
Okay, so this is not a bat virus directly jump into human, and this is a virus based on a bat virus, which is discovered by PLA and owned by them, and going through the engineering modified in the lab, and also going through the serial passage in the...
Okay, remember this. There are two parts how to make this virus. By her claim, which is engineering, which is lab engineering, and also series animal passage.
Animals to make it focus on human. So that's why we can say it's very powerful for human being now. So what we can say is there are very solid evidence. Simply, I can tell our audience that it's like we check something based on our fingerprint, and for the virus, the fingerprint is their genome. So we can see all this kind of evidence from their genome. That's also why in the beginning of the outbreak, China government tried to postpone the publish of the genome sequence and
注意这里啊 ，OK。
even change it because they initially put some wrong genome sequence to NIH database. And these are the things later be reviewed by me through Mr. Luder's YouTube, and then they quickly, the next day, submit Batwoman Xi Jinli's Nature paper, which was published on 3rd February about the RATG13 virus. And then the CCP controlled and influenced the whole scientific field, and WHO, these people, they start to tell people this is the real origin, and mislead, drive the attention from the real origin of the virus to the RATG13 and build something based on that.
Dr. Yan, can I, 2 questions. I just want to make sure I heard you right. Did you say unequivocally that it didn't get caused, that this did not stem from a bat, but it definitely came from a lab, number 1? Number 2, have you been in touch with the U.S. government, and if so, what agencies?
Okay, yes. This is lab-modified virus based on the Chinese Military Institute discovered some bad coronavirus. They called it ZC45 and ZXC21. These sequences are exposed in 2017 to 2018. You can check the sequence from NIH Gene Bank database.
So I start here. So from her claim about Chinese scientists had released a fake sequence to InBank to mislead people, the statement again is misleading. The version 1 sequence was released on 10th of January 2020, and it became available to public on 11th of January 2020. This is the gene number, right? So you can do it yourself. A revised version was released to the same database on 14th of January 2020. In fact, the authors released a 3rd version to the same database on 18th of March 2020. The sequence in the 3 versions are 98% similar, and the differences primarily occurred at the beginning and the end of these sequences. These sequence differences were errors due to the limitation of existing technology, which is well known for those who have some elementary understanding about this technology. If we ignore these technical errors, the version 1 sequence only differs from the version 2 sequence by 1 nucleotide. Okay, out of 29,000 of them. It is irresponsible to say the version 1 sequence as a fake sequence by any scientific standard. Do remember that this work was done in a rush. It is also a common and acceptable practice for authors to amend deposit sequences in GenBank. Okay. Someone who knows Li-Meng Yan on ZSC21 and ZC45, this is as known as the Zhoushan bat virus, right? Okay, that's the virus she claimed is used as a recycled backbone to make this SARS-CoV-2, okay? Okay, let's see what he says, okay? Regarding to her claim that SARS-CoV-2 was made by Zhoushan bat virus, ZSC21 and ZC45, this is a complete nonsense. These viruses are so much different from SARS-CoV-2. All international experts from different countries, e.g. US, UK, and Australia, found no evidence for this. The scientific community basically discounts this unsound hypothesis. Okay, so those are the 2 papers that he attached with his email. I'll explain later. Okay, regarding to her claim that E gene of Zhoushan bat virus and SARS-CoV-2 are identical, although those protein sequences are the same, but the gene of SARS-CoV-2 had at least 2 nucleotide differences to Zhoushan viruses. Most important, the E gene only represents less than 0.8% of the entire genome. How can we explain the big sequence differences found in the rest of the 99.2% of the genome? So our job for this show, our purpose is not to prove anyone right or wrong, right? So we don't have the capability of doing that. We can't prove whether this is man-made or not. But what we do was raise the questions for Dr. Yan to answer. She is a hero claimed by Miles Guo. She knows everything. She can make this virus. How do you make this virus? Viruses causing global pandemic can't be made from scratch. As the limitation of current human technology, there are 2 ways of making a virus using recycled backbone from a nature virus. Genome editing, coronavirus, found no traits of human modification. So those are the key points of this video. All the links are down in the description. You can watch it yourself. It's very easy understanding videos explain why this thing can't be man-made. I use this to let everybody know the terminologies and methods. I can't prove whether this is right or wrong. I just want you to know, get some basic knowledge about viruses, how this is made in a lab, or if it's possible. You can see the similarities of the completely genome for these 2 claimed as a backbone for the CoV-2 virus, which is Zhoushan ZC45 ZXC25. It is 87.6%, 87.4%. So it is impossible to use this as a backbone to make this virus, okay, because there are too much difference apart from the E gene, okay. Although the E gene of these 2 are identical to the SARS-CoV-2, the current coronavirus, but there are others also identical with that. Okay, so that this point doesn't prove this is man-made. Okay, thank you very much. Some self-claimed PhDs claim on Yunnan bat virus RETG13. Our study on Zhoushan viruses based on the 2 provided nature papers. This is the second one: evolutionary origin of SARS-CoV-2. Subcovirus lineage responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. 28. This is 28th of July. Baking hot, just came out of the oven. Right. 这个 subcovirus. Someone who knows Li-Meng Yan on the facts, Yan ignores. Or doesn't even know. Dr. Yan might also completely ignore the fact that there were 5 other SARS-CoV-2 sequences in other databases. The other database is GISID this, okay, at the same time. These sequences were accessible to experts from all over the world. These sequences were deposited on 10th or 11th January 2020 by different Chinese institutes. As a lay person, Dr. Yan might not even know such sequences exist. One might ask why even a lay person can easily find these facts from internet. This is the Wikipedia change, but why she cannot? Regards, someone who knows Li-Meng Yan only. So I want to tell you the reason why we bashing Li-Meng Yan here is not because her person, we don't have any personal beef with her, right? So the thing is, also she might done some damage to the CCP. That's a great thing. But also on the other hand, she being used by Miles Guo to encourage people to invest on his financial fraud organizations like G Series or G Club, GTV. That's a total fraud. So that's why we want to tell everybody the truth. She's not a real scientist. She's just being used as a propaganda tool. Okay, use her somehow related to Hong Kong lab background, not even deeply, to fool everybody, even to tell the American public that she knows the origin of this. This is a total conspiracy theory. That's why we're doing this program. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Next week on We Shall Talk. Someone who knows Li-Meng Yan on Yan's claim about hydroxychloroquine. Okay, I want to translate your third point to our English audience. Okay, so Yan's damage also is to Chinese scientists who also want to voice out about how evil CCP is or how controlled and censored their scientific field is around that environment. So what she has has really done, if there's another scientist want to come out to tell you the truth, you wouldn't believe her, right? You wouldn't believe him or her, right? So that's the damage we've done. We want to expose the truth to you, tell her she's lying, she doesn't represent anyone, she's just like being used for her own purpose, and also used by Miles Guo and Steve Bannon, all these crooks like this, to discredit our credibility of the Chinese society. So we are the same people as you are, right? So we share the same civilization, we share the same common sense with you, right? So right now our country is a bit at the enemy end of America, but our people are friendly, we're nice, we're hardworking people. I sound like Steve Bannon now, so
Exactly.
but I want to tell you, so she doesn't represent any of us, even the top scientists. So I want you to understand, if you have a Chinese friend, still be friendly. If you have a Chinese colleague, be friendly, be professional with him or her. Thank you very much. All right.